Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Hope you're having a great day as we continue to celebrate all the amazing people working so hard across the state of Mississippi to make this such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, we'll bring Kyle in here in just a minute, my partner in crime, Kyle Curley. I want to share a couple of quick quotes that I ran across that I thought were pretty special. One is actually from my friend Stacy Waldrop. I remember when we started the show, I shared so many quotes that she shares, and I used to refer to her, I still do, as one of the most positive people I know. But she shared this the other day, and it just caught my attention, and I think it's so true. She says, everything we see at funerals should be said at birthday parties instead. We leave so much love unspoken. Isn't that true? You know, we should all, I think, double down on saying the things about the people we love, the people who are around us, saying it now, you know, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. I often talk about living in the moment, and all of us should do a little bit more of that. I was kind of a big fan of Joan Rivers. I noticed in my digital history book that she died actually back in 2014, but she would probably enjoy the social media world that we're all living in today, because something she believed strongly in, and this is a quote from her: I succeeded by saying what everyone else is thinking. I succeeded by saying what everyone else is thinking. Boy, there's a lot of truth to that, thinking about Joan Rivers. Unfortunately, today on social media, we get to hear what everybody's thinking, at least for the most part. And what I've tried to do on this show, and I try to keep it positive, is I try to say a lot of things that maybe we take for granted along the way. And in the conversations that I have with various leaders, we have this wonderful opportunity to remind ourselves why coastal Mississippi and why Mississippi is such a special place to live in. And from time to time, when there's an issue that needs to be drilled down on, and I don't do it very, very regularly, but when I do, I'm going to do my homework, and we're going to drill down, and I'm going to say the things in some cases that maybe other people are thinking and can't say. That's one of the beauties of being retired and being independent and having the support of SuperTalk Mississippi media like I do, is that I can get my head around some of the more tough issues that maybe some people can't for political reasons or business reasons or whatever they might be. I succeeded by saying what everyone else is thinking. Joan Rivers. I like that one. Hey, let's move over to my friend Kyle Curley and just say, first of all, before we go any further, good morning to my partner in crime. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? Good morning.
I'm doing great, man. So how things going at SuperTalk, man? I've referred to you many times as a jack of all trades, but there's no rest for the weary in your world, is there?
No, there's not. I guess we've been in this building 9 years now. Some of the equipment's working on 10, so you're replacing things here and there, and just had to rebuild a new studio a week and a half ago, pretty much again from scratch. But it is what it is. It comes with the territory, and you know, it's good stuff. It's fun stuff.
Hey, remind people who've not heard you and I talk before, remind SuperTalk Mississippi Media has several radio stations here on the coast, not just the SuperTalk channel they're listening to now. Give them a sense of the radio channels that are in our group down here.
So the three other FM stations that we have in the group are G96.7, which it's called a throwback station. So it's all of the 90s and the early 2000s hip hop based type music. And then we have 97.9 CPR Rocks, which is the active rock station. Three doors down, anything that's new rock is on that station. And then 105.9 The Monkey, which is the top 40. It's the newer pop music, hip hop. So we have those and the SuperTalk. So down to four. I think everybody's doing real good. Each one of our stations sounds super good. We've just kicked off high school football, and junior college football. So between two stations, we're carrying three teams between Gulf Coast Bulldogs, Gulfport Admirals, and the Ocean Springs Greyhounds.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, you think about what SuperTalk Mississippi Media News is helping to organize with our sports talk guys, a coverage of football across the state from high school to college. Man, we bite off a bunch, but man, you think about the high school sports that we're in tune with across the state of Mississippi through our 26 radio stations, or now 25 radio stations. is pretty awesome, isn't it?
It really is. And, I kind of forgot about Ole Miss that we carry on SuperTalk on Saturdays, or we carry Ole Miss sports pretty much year round between basketball, football, and baseball. So that's another huge part of us. And then, between Mississippi State and Ole Miss, depending on which part of the state you're in, on which SuperTalk station's carrying which, and then some of them carry Southern Miss. We have all the three major universities covered, and I would venture to say that we have most of the JUCOs covered throughout the state as well. Pretty awesome.
And then when you go into the podcast land, we have leading podcasts on collegiate sports in the state of Mississippi. It's amazing how many downloads we're getting. Excuse me. The company has been super successful in that regard. It's busy. And then on top of that, you're getting ready for the Saints season.
Yeah, Saints season. We're jumping in both feet, hoping for a good season. Not really sure where the team's going to be at. I guess it depends on which article you read and which headline you kind of bite on. And, there's what's Carr going to bring to us this season? Are they going to try and do their best to keep Alvin Kamara around? Kind of doesn't seem like they're going to. He's done put his house up for sale. Then we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the noise is towards the end of the season on how many people want to see Spencer Rattler.
Well, sure is a lot of clickbait around that right now. I feel like if the Saints can stay healthy, that they're going to have a really good season. That's where I am right now. I think the betting line is winning 7.5 games. I think they're going to do way better than that. That's just where I'm sitting right now, barring any really, really significant injuries.
I think we'll find out a lot in the first 3 weeks of the season, see where we're going to go. If we don't do really well in the first 3 weeks, I don't see things getting any better towards the end of the season. I think the noise is just going to continue to mount, and it's going to be harder and harder for them to turn the noise off and prepare for a game.
Let's hope that all the culture changes they made and the new offensive coordinator and using Taysom Hill in a different way and all the changes they've made have been positive. And my fingers are crossed. My fingers are definitely crossed. Hey, Kyle, thanks for all you do to support the show, buddy.
You bet. My pleasure.
You bet. Hey, listen, when I think about tourism in coastal Mississippi, you can't help but think about economic impact. The hotels, the restaurants, the shops, the attractions. I mean, it's important for us from a diversification point of view, what tourism does to help diversify the coast economy. Again, blue chip industries that are part of Stennis Space Center on one end and Chevron and Ingalls on the other. And in between, you've got hospitality and all that brings to the table. The real important opportunity it gives us to show the unique sense of place that exists in each of the communities that make up coastal Mississippi, the cultural heritage. My gosh, are we so lucky to have that here? And of course, Katrina challenged that in such a big way, and we were able to bring it back and maintain our sense of place. Quality of life. I mean, tourism in coastal Mississippi gives us, whether we're actually doing a staycation or whether you think about the tax dollars that it brings in to aid for our quality of life here in coastal Mississippi. I can't say enough good things about what tourism brings. And there's no event that brings more focus on all of those aspects than Cruisin the Coast in coastal Mississippi. And so I've invited Woody Bailey to join me today to give us an update on this year's Cruisin the Coast event that is coming up really soon, in October. And we'll get some of the specifics here in just a second. Before we go any further, let me welcome my friend Woody Bailey back to the Ricky Matthews Show. How you doing, Woody?
Doing great, Ricky. Thanks. Glad to be here. Looking forward to a little visit with you.
Listen, we're always in the same spot every year. Seems like this has been the case for the more than 4 years I've done this show now, is that we're always looking south at the tropics and hoping we don't get hit or challenged. And it's been super quiet. And there's a lot of experts, beginning to weigh in on why it's been a quiet season. But they're saying still that mid-September through October could be busy. Let's just hope it's not busy here. That's kind of where I am on that. But you're like holding your breath, aren't you?
Oh yeah, that's definitely what we're hoping for. I keep an eye on it all the time, but not a whole lot we can do about Mother Nature. We'll just have to deal with her when she hands us whatever card she's going to deal out this year. But so far, we're looking pretty good, so that's great.
It does, and we'll get into some of the details here in just a second. But look, just generally speaking, you heard what I said at the beginning about how important tourism. Just aside from cruising the coast, I mean, you spend an incredible amount of your time here in coastal Mississippi focused on either volunteering your time in tourism or working with Cruisin the Coast in the way that you're working today. But we should always be. I tell you what, I realize this. We're at the end of this segment. When we get back on the other side, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to just the overall importance of tourism to coastal Mississippi. We'll see you after this break with Woody Bailey. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I was looking at my guest, Woody Bailey, and it reminded me that Ann said that one of my kids, maybe it was my son Jordan or someone, said to her, "Why does Dad always look down when he's doing the videos?" And, of course, if I'm looking at the camera, I'm right here. For those of you on SuperTalk TV or Facebook or YouTube. But when I'm having these conversations, I'm actually looking at my guests. So that's why there's a tendency for me to look down. I'm not actually looking into the camera. If you're listening on the radio, none of that matters to you. But it's great to be able to do a radio show like this and actually look at my guests and be able to read them and get to see them in their universe. And it's a cool thing. And I always enjoy having Woody Bailey on. He and I go back a long way. We work together in tourism recovery effort after Hurricane Katrina, known each other for an awful long time. But as it relates to tourism, he's involved, obviously, heavily involved in Cruisin the Coast, and we're going to get an update on all that. But before we went to break, we were just talking about the overall reality of tourism in coastal Mississippi, how important it is, the economic impact, the diversification of the economy. You think about cultural heritage and what it does for quality of life here in coastal Mississippi. I mean, you could just go on. You could spend a whole hour just talking about that aspect. But Woody, we can't do enough to support the tourism industry in our community, can we?
Really, it's very important for us. I mean, with the chemistry that we have in the state of Mississippi and particularly on the coast, I tell people that when I was in college, one of the things I did when I came home, I would, before I go see my parents, I would drive down Highway 90 and just enjoy the view. And, that says a lot about our area. There's not many places in the country you can do that. And I think that is a tremendous part of the success of cruising. And it's just a great thing. And tourism is such a, we're just right in that mix. And we need to take advantage of all these things that we have to offer. That Mother Nature gave us, and we just got such a great area. It's pretty special, I think.
Woody, you're right about that drive to the coast. Of course, I grew up here as you did. What I remember, our entry to the coast to Highway 90 from Bayview was usually down Tea Garden Road, and I can remember going over the railroad tracks at Tea Garden Road and I would always look south, oh, there it is. There's the beach and there's the water. I was always drawn to that, still drawn to that. You're drawn to that. We all drawn to it. I mean, we've got water in our blood. But the fact that we're such a wonderful collection of coastal communities with everything that we've got going for ourselves, it's awesome. I had Kenny Holloway on, the mayor of Ocean Springs. You know him well. And, Ocean Springs is having so much success. And Tish Williams, when we talk about what's happening in Bay St. Louis, but also the resurgence of Waveland and what's happening there, and Diamond Head and what's happening there. And I mean, literally, I could just go down the coast when I'm with Mayor Knight from Moss Point talking about what's happening there, or the mayor of Pascagoula, what's happening there. The mayor of Goshen. Again, I could just go down. But every city's got their own story of how success is affecting them and the challenges that they face, because you always have to balance growth with resident expectations, and it's hard when you're staring success, in the face. Sometimes you got to make tough decisions, and residents don't like it, but I'd rather be in that position, where we're having to balance success with quality of life than not having success. And when you add to everything I just said, the opportunity that Cruisin has every single year to accentuate everything that I just said, from town to town, the beach, the uniqueness of that event, there's nothing like it, is there?
It's really not. All those people you mentioned and more, we have all 12 cities involved, and I'm just excited for each city every time I go to a meeting or every time I go to their town during Cruisin. It just makes me happy to see, what Cruisin has been able to do for those cities. Just like Mayor Knight, for example, when you and I were growing up here on the Gulf Coast, Moss Point really wasn't known as a tourism destination. But you would be amazed if you hadn't been there on Tuesday during Cruisin the Coast to see all the cars in Moss Point. I mean, I just smile every time I drive into Moss Point and see all that. I'm just so happy for them, and every city, in between, like I say, with all 12 involved, it's really a pleasure to work with all of them, and they all understand the economic impact of Cruisin and what it does for their city.
Yeah, the way we remember, and for those of us who are a little bit older, we know this so well, but what we remembered about Moss Point was the paper mill, because you could always smell it when you were passing through.
Yeah.
And, they don't have that anymore, but the city is a river city. It's a quaint, beautiful city that has a unique alignment. I mean, where you have the downtown literally on the riverfront, one of the more unique scenarios like it on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And you've got a mayor in his 80s, Mayor Knight, who is a timeless gentleman, the most well-dressed mayor in coastal Mississippi, who knows that he may never see the shade of all these trees that he's planting. But man, does he have a sense of urgency for a guy in his 80s. It's really inspiring to see him do his work, isn't it, Woody?
Oh, it is. I mean, there's so much optimism that comes from him, and such a vision, and he's quite a guy. I really think a lot of him. That's for sure.
Then you move over to Waveland. You think about what Waveland was to all of us. More than once been sort of the ground zero for some of the worst natural disasters in American history, but you see this resurgence of growth on Highway 90 in Waveland, hotels opening and other businesses opening. You see waterfront development beginning to happen. You got a city that never was going to do anything other than recover. They had a little bit further to go than most of the communities of coastal Mississippi in terms of that. But it's great to see Cruisin helping them bring attention to their city and all the positive things that's happening there, isn't it?
It is. Mayor Jay Trapani is doing a great job. He's another one that has a lot of enthusiasm and drive and motivation, and he's taking the ball and running with it, too. And so it's another pleasure to see Coleman Avenue as active as it is during Cruisin the Coast. And I, look forward to those days when it'll come back and be that way on an everyday basis for them.
Yeah, speaking of Hancock County, while we're down there in our minds, I just want to bring attention to the fact that I had my friend John Ferrucci on the show recently from Silver Slipper. And he's going to be retiring after the first of the year. And he and Bridget are going to go enjoy some time traveling around the world, I guess. But he was on, and his commitment to Hancock County, and really the way I posted the show, and I just said that John has been a great friend to coastal Mississippi. Have you had the opportunity to work closely with John along the way, Woody?
Oh, sure. He is on our board. He's on our board of directors, and we've already talked about it. He wants to stay on our board, when he leaves the Slipper organization. So I said, well, by all means, he's a great visionary as well, and maybe I'll get him to work a little harder now that he's going to be slipping away from the Slipper. So that'll be good.
Yeah, all that institutional knowledge. You think about it, I think he worked with 7 different casino companies starting back in 1992 and saw the evolution and the pre-Casino Katrina days, the post-Katrina days. He reminded me that the announcement to build the Silver Slipper started around January of 2005. Think about that, the timing of that relative to Katrina hitting in August. But then the aftermath of that, and, I haven't talked to anybody who hasn't said that when they go to John about something having to do with the community, they weren't going to do everything. He wasn't going to do everything in his power to help, and, just super proud guy. And yeah, you're going to be lucky to have someone like that with all that institutional knowledge on your board. I bet you get more from him. That's for sure. I can't see him not being totally dedicated to doing everything in his power to help out, and that's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah, and he definitely will. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, I know he's looking forward to his retirement away, but I'm gonna try to keep him busy if I can. So we'll see.
Good deal. Hey, so let's just kind of take the step back for just a second, and let's remind people, and we'll do this at the end of this segment, and then we'll pick it up on the other side. But we'll get to dates and specific and car counts and all that here shortly. But let's remind people a little bit about the history of Cruisin the Coast who have not heard us talk before, why it was so critical when we brought it here, and what it's become today.
Well, yes. I mean, the whole point was what can we do to extend tourism season? In the old days, after Labor Day, tourism was over on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, as it was in a lot of other areas. A lot of the casino guys were saying, why can't we do something beyond Labor Day? And so business folks got together, and casino people got together, and we talked about a lot of different ideas and came up with, hey, let's try a car show. So here we go in 1996. And thank goodness we had the casinos involved helping us with it. The Casino Operators Association at that time, which was a localized organization, helped us get started. So here we are today at 374, and now we're at 10,070 that we had last year. So in 28 years, it's been pretty amazing.
It has been amazing. In fact, John Ferrucci, on my visit with him, talked about those early days. He was in those meetings talking about what could we do to increase midweek traffic and so on. It was a terrific part of that history. Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll get into some of the specifics as it relates to Cruisin the Coast when we get back on the other side. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. We have Woody Bailey from Cruisin the Coast with us today, and we're reflecting on cruising and the important role it plays in the coastal Mississippi economy, especially as it relates to tourism. Hey, just a quick reminder, one of the things that Woody and his team do periodically is an economic study so that we can have a better understanding of what the economic impact is. The other thing they do is they pay very, very close attention to the feedback they get every year. So they're never satisfied. Yeah, this is where we're going to be, and we get the winning combination. So we can sleep on this now. It's not like that, Woody, is it? You're constantly making evolutions to the event itself, so you can make sure that there are new features and you're exceeding the attendees' expectations. So let's start with the economic impact, and then let's talk about then what you're learning from year to year about how to enhance the event.
Well, as far as economic impact, we do a study every 5 years. We did our last one in 2021, and we'll do another one in 2 years. So in 2021, when you take into account the entire state, is 36.1 million. The three coast counties, 33.1 million. So we've grown a lot in the last 3 years. So, we'll have to see how we would add to that. But I would suspect we're way up to scale. And yes, we listen to the comments from the folks that are here and continue to work and try to improve. And like I say, that in 2 years, that'll be our 30th anniversary. So we're already looking down the road to prepare for that event. So that's just around the corner for us for our 30th year. Still, all that's hard to believe. We've been doing this long, but it seems to be working. People are happy. They're enjoying it. They come back. They go home and tell their friends, and they bring their friends with them. So the growth has been, although we do a lot of advertising, that word of mouth is really hard to beat.
It is hard to beat. What's important about the actual event itself and how to pull off the event itself, again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Woody and his very small team, there's a lot of organizing that they're doing, because at the end of the day, the role that the car clubs and volunteers from various organizations play in each of the cities along coastal Mississippi to help pull this off. I mean, you guys would be in serious trouble if you didn't have massive volunteer army helping you with this, wouldn't you?
There's no doubt about that. You mentioned the car clubs. We have 12 of those that help us with about 650 volunteers. Then we reach out to the community for the remaining volunteers, which is around 1,400 or so, 12 to 1,400. And we have a group, and if you go to our website, I mentioned this while we're here, Cruisin Crew on our website, cruisinthecoast.com. If you want to volunteer, sign up and you can work, wherever you'd like to along the Gulf Coast. And that is the big important thing for us, and also is our biggest challenge in the future. If we want to look out down the road, who are those volunteers going to be 10 years from now that are going to be helping run this event? And so I'm looking down that road, trying to get that figured out. And we're reaching out to a lot of different organizations, trying to recruit people to help us. So we always need help. And if anybody has an interest, you get up close and personal view of all the cars, and you have a lot of fun doing it. And you're an ambassador. That's very, very important. These people are coming in from all over the country. We've got, last year we had 45 states, Canada, Germany, and England, and whatever we can do to take care of these folks and make them have a good time. We don't have to make them, really. They have a good time because they're here enjoying this area. So all that's very important to the success of this event. And so it's a lot goes into it, but it's a lot of fun as well.
Hey, so what I would say is that if you're involved in a nonprofit or any kind of community group that's looking for a wonderful way to give back to the community, I would reach out to the Cruisin the Coast folks and find out how your team can sort of adopt Cruisin the Coast, because there's so many different cool roles that you can play. One of the things I enjoyed most about over the last several years, I'm assuming we'll do it again this year, is the SuperTalk does a live remote from Town Green in Biloxi. And I love it because it gives me an opportunity to visit with a lot of the folks that are visiting in the community. And what's interesting, Woody, is that while you do bump into people who are new to the area, you meet a lot of people who are not from here, but who've almost sort of adopted this as like an extension of their home. I mean, this is where they're supposed to be at this time of year, and the ownership of that is pretty substantial. I mean, that what that tells me is there's great loyalty.
Oh, there's no question about that. And so many reunions, so many people have met people over the years, and they get back together during Cruisin the Coast and just have a big time seeing, one another. They may live in Arizona or Indiana, and they've become friends because of Cruisin the Coast. It's pretty interesting when things like that come together. So, and it happens regularly.
Woody, I thought of this morning a question I wanted to ask you that I haven't asked you before. But if you think about I mentioned to people a couple of years ago that I had the opportunity to walk with Woody after this live remote in Town Green, and I said on a past show it was like walking with Elvis because everybody knew Woody, and it was really cool. That means he's met a lot of people over all these years, and he's been out and about, meeting them, and that's important. Touching people and hearing from them and listening to them is really important. But have you had a personal favorite moment? I mean, what's your personal favorite moment, looking back on all the history of Cruisin the Coast? What story stands out to you?
Well, I'll tell you a funny one is, I don't know if it's the best, but it got my attention probably more than anything. Somebody asked me for my autograph. I said, and we were standing by some celebrities that I have there to, that they get their autographs. I said, "Are you kidding me? You want mine?" I think it was Courtney Hanson, and she's a very attractive lady. And I said, "I mean, you want my autograph?" She said, "Here's Courtney right here. You can certainly talk with her." And she said, "Well, you're way more important than she is." But anyway, that's kind of funny to me. But I don't know. I guess the thing that makes me sticks in my mind are the smiles on everybody's faces. I can't say there's any particular story. The time I spent with Jay Leno, a couple of years ago, with he and his wife. That was very special. A couple of hours with Jay Leno was quite interesting. But just seeing people have a good time and enjoying the things that we like about this Gulf Coast and Mississippi, that's the thing that's most satisfying to me as far as just a story in general.
Yeah, actually, I was going to mention Jay Leno. You think about, you have seen celebrities in the car world, celebrities in general that have come through here, and you've had the opportunity to meet and chat with them. But, I remember you sharing the story of Jay Leno. I think y'all were in Ocean Springs, downtown Ocean Springs, if I remember that correctly. And what I remember about that is you relating how blown away he was by what he was seeing. I mean, I don't know what was in his mind's eye, but what he saw was super special, wasn't it?
It was, and it was amazing how, he behaved. I think I told you the story about, he was a little quiet on the way over, but when we got in the crowd and we were driving through to the area where we were going to stop and get out, and he rolled down the window. I mean, he was just immediately on stage. I mean, he talked to all the people, interacted with the folks, and then when we went upstairs to have some refreshments and some lunch, he didn't want to stay upstairs very long. He said, Woody, let's go back downstairs and walk around and talk to the folks. I said, okay, that's fine. Had to get some policemen to go along with us, to have some crowd control. But that's what he enjoyed doing. I mean, he's a car guy, and so he wanted to get out there and mix and mingle with them. And he was really a lot of fun. And people were just shocked to see Jay Leno walking through the streets of Ocean Springs. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so neat to see someone that is in that level of success. When you know his car stories, which is very substantial. I can see that he would be someone who would enjoy walking the streets of Ocean Springs, talking to car enthusiasts about the situation. And it's got to be, when you got it again, you having the police. I get that too, because he's got the celebrity that's attached to that. Probably makes it more difficult for him than he likes, because he really would like not to have the celebrity attached to it and just talk about the cars and how he loves the cars. That's neat to have that in your memory for sure. So let's get to some of the basics. This year's event is happening when?
October 6th through the 13th. So we're almost about a month out. So things have been picking up speed as far as at our office and what we're doing. But everything looks good. We had our pre-registration close on August 15th, so we will not register until October the 7th, Monday at Centennial Plaza, starting there Monday morning. So we had 8255 from 43 states, Canada, and England currently registered, for the event. So we're doing very well. We have a little over 1,100 first timers, people who've never been to this event that are registering so far. And I really enjoy that number. It makes me feel good for a 28-year-old event to have. We'll end up being about 18% of our registration being first timers, and it's great to. We talk to them in the office here a good bit when they call in, asking questions about where to stay, what to do, and that sort of thing. So anyway, that means we got a pretty healthy event going on. We got that many first timers coming. Oldest vehicle we have, and I say vehicle, is a 1915 Model T Depot Hack is what it's called. It's
that's
neat.
That's
interesting
neat.
Truck. So we'll see what it looks like. I hadn't seen it yet, but it's kind of a little truck of sorts. It can be a little panel van. So anyway.
Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll pick it up from right there as we continue our conversation with Woody Bailey, and we'll see if we're going to hit another record this year. We might. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. I have Woody Bailey. He's ubiquitous in the world of Cruisin the Coast, has been there, done that for many, many years. And when we talk about 10,000 cars, a big record last year, that's a big deal when you consider where we started, Woody, isn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. Hitting that 10,000 mark. We had, like I said, we was at 10,070 last year. It's hard to believe that we hit that mark. But and we'll see, where we end up this year. We'll know the last Saturday at noon, as to what our final number will be. But, that doesn't count the cars that are here that don't register, which is fine. We're happy to have them. That's somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000. So we've been in that 10,000 number for quite some time, just not officially as far as registered vehicles. And of course, naturally, it'd be nice if the folks other folks would register, but we enjoy having them here whether they register or not. And, I just want them to come here and enjoy the Gulf Coast and enjoy what Cruisin the Coast has and what the whole Gulf Coast and all our 12 cities and 3 counties have to offer. So I'm happy for them to be here. And thank goodness we got a lot of real estate to work with. Now that we're spread out, that helps spread out the event and gives people a lot of choices between Pascagoula to Waveland as to what they want to do and, what activities they want to partake in. Speaking of activities, we talked about a little while ago, what do we do new or whatever each year? And I maybe have misspoke a little bit. If you look at our schedule, we're actually got things kicked off on the 5th Saturday this year. We're working with the Shuckers and the Blues Club. They're going to have a Grand Slam Jam all day on that Saturday into the night. at the Shuckers Stadium. So they'll have Chapel Heart, the local group. They've got Rockin' Doopsie coming. They've got a country group. They've got some more rock and roll people. So that's going to be a great thing for this year. The Mississippi Gulf Fresh Seafood is back doing seafood sampling on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at Centennial Plaza. So everybody get a chance to taste some, great Gulf Fresh seafood. And then also this year, you can get you a bottle of CTC bourbon, some Cruisin The Coast bourbon, where the Past Christian Bottle Shop will be selling from Monday until they sell out 300 bottles that Matt Crittenden and the Kill Distillery fame is making. So they do that at the Derby and the Preakness and all. So now we'll have a little branded Cruisin The Coast bourbon for everybody to sample. So a lot of good things happening. We have one change I want to mention too for the local folks. Spectator parking at Centennial Plaza, due to construction, where we had spectator parking, is going to be moving to Hardy Court Shopping Center on Courthouse Road. The east side of Hardy Court Shopping Center will have CTA buses running people back and forth to Centennial Plaza throughout the whole week. So that's a big change for us for this year, just due to the construction activity. So
that actually should help. That may actually help even when you didn't have construction, getting in and out of there. I mean, is that what your thoughts are?
Yeah, I think so. So they'll be able to come in where you can't come in the back gate. Really, the bus will bring you right on in, just a little short bus ride, and drop you off right there by the fountain at Centennial Plaza. And then when you get ready to head back out, hop aboard and and run on back to Hardy Court. So I think it's going to be an easy thing, and I hope everybody will take advantage of it.
That's cool to hear that. Speaking of that headquarters position, Centennial Plaza, that has turned out to be like an amazing headquarters for you guys, hasn't it?
It really has. They've been great folks to work with. We've been there before the Centennial opened up, when it was the old VA hospital property, and so we've been there for a pretty good while. And it's been a great stay, for us at that location. The trees are so pretty. They just got a great property there. There's no doubt.
So yeah, one of the great things, as you mentioned, from Pascagoula to Waveland and many points in between across the 12 coast cities, the real opportunity to really spread things out. And so no matter where you live, you can just look up the activities in your city and go participate, go see what it's all about. And even if if you're in Pascagoula, it might be a great opportunity for you to drive over to Waveland and participate in what they're doing over there and take it all in. And you can really get a sense of the scope of it all along Highway 90 as people, some registered, as you pointed out, some not, which they would all register. But kind of partaking and enjoying sort of the cruising of the scenario. As Woody said on a show a couple of years ago, there are events like this, but they don't drive. They don't go anywhere. So it's not literally cruising events. You go there and you sit in your car. This is literally a cruising event, and one of the most amazing sort of cruising destinations you can go to. And that is a competitive advantage for this event, isn't it, Woody?
Oh, it is. I think people really enjoy using their cars. We really hot August nights in Reno and our event are the most mobile events, cruising events, around. And so, you just get a chance to sample the, each little community's specialty that they have, their own personality. So it's a great opportunity for people to come and enjoy Cruisin The Coast. It really is truly cruising, like you say.
It is. Hey, listen, Woody Bailey from Cruisin The Coast. It's been great to catch up with you. We'll have you back just maybe the week of the event to kind of get a final number on what you're looking at and review the schedule with everybody. Until then, good luck to you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
You bet. This has been Woody Bailey from Cruisin The Coast. Listen, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.